Hello, my beautiful YouTube family. Welcome back to the E portion of Tell Joanne. I am your girl, Joanne. Guys, I am excited today because it is Members Request Day. Our request is by our member, Matt. And Matt has requested for me to listen to Sonny West's funniest Elvis Presley story ever. Matt actually had introduced Sonny West to the channel. Matt sent me the links, but the actual link, it's called A Lighthearted Elvis Moment with a Memphis Mafia Tale. All right. If you are part of the family, aka you ready to subscribe, you know what we're about to do. But if you're new to this channel, this is when I say, put me on pause, get your beverage joys, hit that subscribe button, become part of the family. And on the count of three, we'll do a cheer. You guys ready? 1, 2, 3. Okay, so the last time I heard a story by Sonny West, I think it made me cry. So I guess Matt is like, Joanne, I'm going to make you laugh this time. So let's go. Let's hear it.
Now, here's a favorite of Tim, my friend Tim Rochford. I got to tell this story. You don't know how much Elvis counted on us guys until you hear this story. It's regarding a taxi in Palm Springs, California. We get down there, everyone goes to their rooms. We get up the next morning, there's about 4 or 5 of us. The other guys, they take off in one of the cars and they go shopping. I look and know that I've got to get some bacon and eggs, tomatoes and things like that, toast and things for Elvis's breakfast when he wakes up later in the afternoon. I don't know it, Elvis already awake. None of us knew it, but he's already back there getting ready to come out. And that's unheard of. So I leave. I guess he walked out right after me, after I was gone, and he said he called out, nobody answered. He went all through the rooms he's never even been in before. He didn't even know they were there, and couldn't find anybody. So he decides to call a taxi because he wants to go shopping. So he picks up the phone. Well, Elvis never did this. He would just say, get Daddy on the phone, get Priscilla on the phone, get the Colonel on the phone, and we would dial it and give him the phone. He'd talk. When he was done, he'd hang up. So he picked up the phone and dialed the operator. Told her he needed a taxi. She said, I don't do that, sir.
Okay, I'm smiling because I'm like, oh, that's funny, but I'm like, oh, I guess that's how they used to do it back in the days. And he's like, no, that's not what we do. Okay, so he really never calls for himself. Let me go back.
The operator. Told her he needed a taxi. She said, I don't do that, sir. He said, well, what do you do? She said, well, I help with person-to-person calls and collect calls and things like that, but you need to get a hold of information to get the number for a taxi. He says, okay, how'd I do that? She said, dial 411. He went ahead and said, okay, and he hung up and he dialed. She answers. He said, yes, ma'am, I need the number of a taxi. And she said, which one? He said, doesn't matter, any one of them. She said, no, sir, which company? We got several here. We got Yellow Cab. Elvis knew that one. Everyone knows Yellow Cab. He said, that'll be fine. That's good. So she gave him the number. He calls the number. Dispatcher answers the phone. May I help you? Yes, I'd like to have a taxi cab come pick me up, please. All right, sir, what's that address? I don't know. He didn't know the address. I got to tell you, I didn't know the address. I knew where the house was, but I don't even remember the name of the street either. But she said, you want a cab and you don't even know the address? He said, well, no, I'm just down here visiting. I'm just leasing the home and everything, and I don't live here. And she said, well, what street is it on? He said, I don't know that either, ma'am. She said, is this some kind of joke? He said, no, ma'am, it's not. My name, I'm Elvis Presley. Oh, you are? I'm Elvis Presley, and I just leased this house from Jack L. Warner. Well, everybody in Palm Springs knew who Jack L. Warner was. He owned Warner Brothers Studio. He was the head guy. Had a huge home down there. We weren't actually in his home. We were in his guest house, which was a 4-bedroom with a pool and everything. That was just the guest house on the estate. And she said, well, oh, you're Elvis Presley, and you're at the Jack L. Warner home. Well, I know where that is, and I'm going to send the cab over there. and Elvis Presley better come out and get in it. He said, ma'am, why are you being that way? She said, I'm just kidding you, but I think you're kidding me. So anyway, I'm going to send the cab over there. So she did. Well, the cab driver gets over there, buzzes the intercom, because you have to have a key to get in or out, or you can open it from inside. In the box there, when they buzz, you can talk to them and say, just a minute, or they can identify themselves, and then you hit a button and it opens. Elvis didn't know where this box was. He heard that cab driver's voice. Taxi's here. Okay, I'll be right out. Taxi's here. And he knew then the guy wasn't hearing him. He didn't know how to talk back to the guy. He said, I'm coming right out. Don't leave. So he runs out there and he goes up to the gate, big 7.5 foot so gate, solid. Not one of the wrought irons you can see through. It's solid for privacy, and big stucco fence about 7.5 feet. Can't see through. He comes out there. He can't open the gate. He doesn't have a key. There's no button there or anything to do. And he says, don't go, man. He said, my name's Elvis. And he said, I know. Dispatcher told me it was Elvis Presley wanting the cab. He said, well, I'll be there. If I crawl over this thing, just don't go. And I pull up. I see the cab driver there, and I say, can I help you? And he said, well, maybe not me, but the guy on that fence said he's Elvis Presley on the other side, and he can't get his gate open. I called out. I said, Elvis, Sonny, open this gate. I went over and turned that key, and that gate opened up, and he comes storming out of there. Where you been? I said, I went to get some food for you for breakfast. I thought you was asleep. Where's the rest of them? I said, they went shopping. Without me? I want to go shopping. I said, well, we'll go. Let me put the food up and everything, and we'll go. He said, give that guy $100. I walk over to that cab driver, and I peel off a $100 bill, and I give it to him, and he, oh, thanks, Elvis. You ever need me again, man, just call me, okay? So that guy, 5 minutes, man, $100, you know. But that's just the thing to show how much Elvis was protected, how much was done for him. And it just started, and it just grew and grew. The bigger he got, the more things that he did, the less he did that we do every day just for, just take for granted and everything.
So that's an interesting story. I don't know how to take that story. I don't know, especially the things that he said, right? I know, Matt, you said this is going to be a funny story, and it is funny, but I don't know if he's kind of like throwing jabs a little bit, saying that Elvis didn't do anything for him and he didn't know anything. So I guess this is when it becomes like it's all about interpretation, right? How do you see that story, right? And even at the end, I don't know if he's trying to say that cab driver thought this. I don't know. But no, I guess because the cab driver saw him pull up also and knew that he was an Elvis. I was going to say, I didn't know if he thought that this guy was Elvis and that it was someone pretending to be Elvis. I don't even know. But the story, it's an interesting story, right? And I think I'm hearing the story as it is, and I'm also thinking in terms of mental health, right? Because that's what I am. I'm hearing in terms of the mental health and regards to how the dispatch may be like, okay, this is a crazy guy who's not really Elvis and who's pretending to be Elvis. And even that guy over there is like, this is not Elvis, it's pretending to be Elvis. So I'm hearing that. And then I'm also hearing Sonny, and I don't know. I'm assuming this whole thing, Sonny's story, is coming from Elvis, and Elvis told him the story, and then he's saying how the story was because of the fact that Sonny wasn't there, right? So he's talking about Elvis' point of view, and he's saying it, and he's making it funny, because I'm also assuming that Elvis didn't think that was funny when he was going through all of those things, right? He's giving the runaround, and then people don't believe that it's him and all of those things. I can't imagine that someone's going to think that's funny. So this is Sonny's version of the funny story. But at the end, he ended up with saying that as Elvis grew, people did more and more for him. And I'm just kind of like, again, it's all about perspective, right? If you're hearing the story, are you saying that he's saying that, Elvis didn't know how to do anything for himself is what I'm hearing, right? He didn't even know how to pick up the phone. He didn't even know how to open the door and all of those things. So I guess I'm saying that. Is he saying that it says a lighthearted Elvis moment? Is he being lightheaded, or is he throwing shades? I don't even know. So this is one of the things that I say that in terms of the comment board, right? Because I welcome a community I welcome everybody's opinion, right? And like I said, for it to be respectful, because it's all about perspective. Because here I am, you guys know how I feel about Elvis. I'm hearing the story, but I almost feel like Sonny is throwing shade. I don't know. But you guys could be reading that, listening to the story, and you're like, Joanne, that's definitely not. Like, it's just a funny story that he's saying about how Elvis Day went through and this and that. And I'm also, again, I can imagine from my thoughts of who Elvis was, that when he was going through this, it was not funny. But after the fact, right? After the fact, when he's telling the story and he's saying the story, I can imagine he's like cracking up, saying like, oh my God, these people didn't believe it with me. Like, it was just such a crazy day. And he's laughing and he's telling the story. I can imagine that's that also. So again, this is a video that's about perspective. So if you guys are going to write comment, be respectful with your comment. But either way, thank you, Matt, for sharing this video with me. And I'm going to see you guys in the next reaction.